upstate New York's Finger Lakes region sits a shrine of American motorsport. Watkins Glen International is more than just a racetrack. It's the birthplace of post-war road racing in North America. The Worthing test of some of the best drivers to ever sit in a race car. Today, the Glen hosts the NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series, as well as the 6-hour crown jewel of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Sports Car Club of America, professional and amateur racing, ARCA Menard Series, and major vintage racing. It has also been the home to major concerts and other festivals like the Finger Lakes Wine Fest. Over the years, the Glen has been lengthened once and continually upgraded. 4 different configurations of the track are available to iRacing members, and a lap around today's Grand Prix circuit still incorporates much of the original layout. The first turn is known as the 90-degree right-hander. Place to pass. Then it's up towards the S's, a series of 3 fast sweeping apexes leading onto the backstretch. The cars reach their top speeds here before hard braking for the bus stop at the end of the straightaway. Made in 1992 after multiple accidents off the carousel. Here the track deviates from its original circuit for the boot, a hammerhead shaped up and downhill section of the track added in 1971. Turn 9, where the boot rejoins the original circuit, is another fairly quick left-hander. Tricky because it's off-camera, followed by the even quicker turn 10, an almost flat-out left-hand turn. Down to the last corner, turn 11 is another fast right-hander that leads out onto the front straightaway. Racing first came to the Glen in 1948 in the form of the Watkins Glen Grand Prix, an SCCA-sanctioned event race that ran a more than 6-mile course over the back roads of town through the state park. The success of that eventually led to the construction of a permanent facility, resulting product a little more than a third in length of the original course. In 1957, the track hosted its first race, a NASCAR Grand National Series event won by Buck Baker for Fireball Roberts. The following year, Formula Libre showed up, and not long after that, Watkins Glen hit big time. NASCAR came. But 1961, Formula One. They came to the little town by the lake, bringing with it some of the most legendary names in motorsports. For the next 2 decades, the home of the U.S. Grand Prix was Watkins Glen. The early 80s saw some tough times for the Glen. F1 held its last race there in 1980, and it was closed to all but spectator-free SCCA meets for 2 years. The track would recover soon enough under new ownership. In 1986, NASCAR's Top Series returned to the Glen, and with it, a whole new renaissance for the track began. Tonight, it's the Numb Thumbs Racing League ARCA Series taking on the left and rights of the Glen, and it's coming up next here on HBR TV. Once again, everyone, welcome to upstate New York, Watkins Glen International. Tonight's Numb Thumbs Racing League ARCA Series. I'm joined in the booth by fellow racer Zach Millett. Zach, welcome to your first broadcast. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad, Steve. How about you?
I'm doing excellent. A little tired after you and I just finished up racing here, actually, in the 6 hours of the Glen iRacing IMSA official special event. Not a great day for us, but not a terrible one. Qualified P7, finished P8. Special thanks to you, sir, for throwing down some hot laps, certainly to get us into the show in good positions and getting us home to the checkered flag.
Yeah, you know, that was my first endurance race to that magnitude. You know, 6 hours, that's a pretty long time. So I was glad that you and I could split that up and you know, do what we can. We had a pretty rough start, but we came back pretty good, I think.
It's definitely a good time, but we're running the short course here today for the ARCA Series. Of course, the IMSA Series runs on the long 3.4-mile boot section. It's basically an additional mile, a boot-shaped section of the race course. But here at the Glen for the NASCAR stock car style cars, we run the short course, which is essentially the original course, so to speak. There's some slight variational changes to it, but for the most part, it is the original circuit, 2.45 miles in length, and it's really just a perfect natural road course for these guys to get around. Practice just about wrapped up. In fact, the clock does strike 0 on the session. Cody Williams is fastest. Jump right into the qualifying session, see who takes to the track first. I believe they do have a full 10 minutes to get this done. Looks like Jason Kraft might be the first to roll out. The number 23 McDonald's entry looks like might be a Bubba Wallace style paint scheme on that ARCA machine.
Yeah, that's a good looking car. Almost brings me back to a Jamie Mack type car.
And if you want to go even further, maybe Bill Elliott.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing how long McDonald's has actually been in the sport, if you really think about it. So some names to watch here tonight. Cody Williams, of course, great on the ovals, but not too slouchy, so to speak, on the road courses either. He was top time in the practice session. We'll see if he can back it up here in qualifying, and then, of course, throughout the race. But a lot of these guys I'm not too familiar with. I mean, Vincent Short specifically, he races for the racing side of HBR or HBR TV. He's a Holler Boys racing driver. He's put a lot of laps down here, especially here at Watkins Glen. We'll see what kind of time Vincent can lay down here in the qualifying session. I expect kind of a conservative lap out of the 15. Let the consistency kind of do the talking throughout the rest of his run. But either way, still watching here the 23, Jason Kraft. Just took the green flag on his first lap. Jason out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Big-time NASCAR fan, loves to sim race. Looks like he's got a decent lap going here. I mean, again, we talked about before we even went live, Zach, is the iRating of some of these guys, at least on the oval side. We've got a couple of them that are not even at 1,000 iRating, which typically when you start out in a particular discipline within iRacing, you're right around 1,500. So again, you're driving stock cars and oval style racing. These guys, it's a different discipline entirely. They don't do it, but just watching right now, Jason Kraft, rolling around this place, it seems like he's got a decent handle on it.
Yeah, he's got a good looking line so far. Looks real smooth.
Now again, you've got a lot of experience in these cars. You've been on the sim here for I think about 10 years last we talked. I think oval is kind of your primary discipline, but we have seen you excel quite well in the road course side of things as well. You've got some laps in the ARCA car here at the Glen. Tell us kind of what the keys to success here around this place are.
Well, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is to try to keep those rear tires underneath you if at all possible. These do drive pretty darn loose. You know, it's kind of an open drift session from start to finish. So if you can keep the car straight, put the power down, and stay smooth, I think that's your key.
Some drivers will go as far as putting a bungee cord on their throttle pedal so they don't accidentally mash it too hard. Vincent Short, definitely one of those guys. He's out on track on his out lap. Currently, the 48 of Zeth Hawley is fastest. Nate Stanley is second quick, or he was until Richard Holland went top of the board with a 14:54. Good lap, 74.54 seconds out of the 37. And imagine that, Cody Williams goes P1, 73.74 for his first lap.
Great lap.
It's a short just about to take the green here. We're going to switch over to Cody, watch his second lap, see if he can pick up the pace on lap number 2. 13:74 is pretty good. And usually with these stock cars, that first timed lap is going to be your best here at the Glen. The Goodyear Racing Eagles that you used to run, now General Tires. It's actually kind of an offshoot of Hoosier Tire. They tend to really produce the best grip. That first lap and a half. We'll see if Cody can pick up here. He's down the carousel through the short chute, looking down into turn number 10. Again, with iRacing, we do a 5 to 10 minute session here, and everybody goes all at the same time. So, of course, we can't get everybody, but if we're going to do a 20-car qualifying session, that's a whole broadcast almost all in itself. So we try to get whoever we can and kind of go from there. But crossing the line, Cody goes a minute 14:18, does not pick up any time. We'll go back over to Vincent Short here. He's down the short chute into turn number 10 as well. This would be the completion of his first timed lap. Short crosses the stripe. Where does he check in? Minute 14.9. Not a terrible lap for Vince Short. He's going to go around another time and give it another go. Definitely some more pace in that number 015 track bar medium entry. Derek Welsh out there, his first lap of 14.96. Again, Derek and Vince kind of going back and forth here in the point standings this season.
Hey, one thing, Steve, I do like the look of this field so far. The top 6 all in the 14 range.
I think we're in store for a decent race for sure. Of course, you're going to have some guys near the back of the pack that just show up because they need the points. It's not their forte, but they're here, and I can give them a big pat on the back for that for sure. Ryan Tiffany off turn 11 as well. He's going to complete lap 1. While we're finishing up qualifying here, let's take a peek at the points. I think I've got that ready to rock here. Yes, I do. Vincent Short on top of the point standings, 400 even for the 015. Derek Welsh we spoke about a moment ago. In the 1, he is second, just 9 points behind Vince Short. Third place, Mark Collins, 353. Also Nate Stanley with 353. And then Joe Robert, that'll complete your top 5 at 343 points. So on and so forth, moving your way down through 18th. Again, some of these guys don't show points. They haven't quite been updated just yet. Those will be accurate next time we come live here on HBR TV, but at least got the top 13 in here. Those are the guys that showed up for last week's race. Obviously, Cody Williams was there as well. Did not catch him in the point standing. So either way, that at least gets you the run of it, at least in the top 5 is accurate. Tiffany off turn 10, that Grey Goose, sponsored number 35. Ryan crosses the stripe. His lap time was a 16:69. Number 32 Tide Ride. Throwing it back to Ricky Craven, it looks like. He's staying out there and getting an extra lap of practice. His qualifying attempt is in, a 15:565 for the number 32. That's 7th quick on the board so far. And it appears that we've got 3, 4, 5 drivers: Ken Stocks, Joe Bennett, Chris Clark, Richard Gray, Mark Collins, maybe even Dalton Wagner, not opting to take a time in the qualifying session. Dalton Wagner does show a time, or at least an attempt at a lap, but no time officially clocked in just yet.
That's pretty cool to see the old Ford Taurus paint scheme on that 32 car. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, some of these guys really take it a step further and go that extra mile and get some throwbacks. This is essentially the mid-2000s Cup car, even though they're calling it ARCA. They kind of, when they update the Cup car, they move one car down to the next and so on and so forth, so you're not wasting parts, and the race teams have something to at least recoup some of that monies. But with qualifying just about a minute left and officially in the session, we're going to step aside here, take a quick break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to upstate New York, Watkins Glen International. For tonight's Numb Thumbs Racing ARCA Series event number 12. Field is stacked up in the pit lane here. Let's go to our starting grid and look at our starting grid for tonight's race. It is the 38 of Cody Williams on the pole. To his outside, it is the 1 of Derek Welch. Starting in the second row, Richard Holland, the number 37 out of New England. Fourth starting position, it is Joe Robert, the number 16. Starting fifth, Zeth Hawley, the number 48, with Vincent Short to his outside, the number 015 machine. We'll start row number 3. Seventh starter is Ricky Fagande, the second, number 32. That tide ride we saw, sharp-looking car. Starting eighth is Dave Hoytsma, the number 79. Nate Stanley, the ninth starter, in the number 67, flanked by Brian Tiffany, the 35. Starting 11th, Jason Kraft in the number 23 with Kraft Hollister Racing. And Gerald Berlin, the number 70, will start 12th. Ken Stocks will start in the 13th position, the number 28. And Double Out Joe Bennett, the 00 machine, will start in the 14th position. Chris Clark rolls off 15th with Richard Gray, the 110, starting 16th. Dalton Wagner, Mark Collins round out the field, 17th and 18th starting positions. It appears Mark Collins may be here in an admin role, but nonetheless, he's got the grid either way. It's your starting field for tonight's race here at Watkins Glen. Field working through the S's here on their one and only pace lap before we go to the green flag. 55 laps here at Watkins Glen. Stages, I believe, are lap 10 and 25. With two faster pairs to work with this afternoon. 4 sets of tires over the pit wall. Working with a 70% fuel load. Essentially, do the math for those of you at home. If we're working on a 10-gallon tank, that means you got 7 gallons to work with. I'm doing it that way because it's like 18.9-gallon tanks, and I can't do that kind of math in my head. So to make it simple, they're starting with less fuel. What's that mean? It means they got to pit soon. There might be some fuel strategy to come into play here. Maybe we'll get cautions, maybe we won't. I believe we're on local yellows only, which means crashes, the flag waves in that particular corner. Pace car does not come out. We continue on, and everybody's none the wiser. I don't want to be doing a whole lot of caution laps here at a place like Watkins Glen.
Yeah, Steve, if you were to guess, how long do you think a caution lap would take in these things?
Caution lap around here is at least 3 minutes, I believe.
Yeah, that'd take a bit. That would definitely take a bit.
Yeah, full course cautions are not turned on, so local yellow only. Now, if we brought up the whole field in turn 1, we might get a yellow. I think that might be admin controlled, but we'll see.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
He's working through turn 11.
Green flag.
Green flag waves. We're underway from Watkins Glen. Trouble in turn 1. When he drives away from it.
But it gets narrow quick through there.
Field working down the back straightaway into the bus stop for the first time today.
You gotta wonder if Cody got a little loose coming up through the S's.
Cody Williams possibly had an issue through there, but nonetheless, it's there in the 3rd spot. Derek Welch out in front here off turn number 10. Looks like he's going to lead lap number 1. Derek Welch, Joe Robert, Cody Williams, Richard Holland, Zeth Hawley. That's your current top 5. Derek Welch under pressure now. Joe Robert looking to the bottom into turn number 2. That's the preferred way around, at least until you start turning left. But then we go back to the right again for turn 4. He has to check up, gets out of the top spot, or hold on to it for that matter. Cody Williams takes advantage. He jumps into P2 down the backstretch for the second time into the bus stop.
That's all it takes, Steve. You know, you just go wide on one corner and it really opens up, you know, the next couple corners for people to pass you.
Yeah, it really does. You've got to be precise to your line. There are absolutely passing opportunities in a place like Watkins Glen. This is, you think that this one here coming down the street, turn number 10 is one. We do see it occasionally, but it's not one of the better places because it is kind of a sweeper of a corner, though there is a ton of braking involved to get into it, especially with these cars. On the sports car side of things, it's almost flat out, but you don't have as long of a straightaway to get to it. But speaking of a passing opportunity, Cody Williams looking to the inside of Derek Welch down the front stretch. This is the big place to do it. Down into turn 1, outbrake the other guy. Cody Williams is going to take the top spot. New leader as they work off turn 1.
Boy, done perfectly, done absolutely perfectly. It's the greatest spot in the track, in my opinion, to make the pass. And I think Welch came off a little loose off the last turn, and that really opened the door for Cody.
Looking good so far. Cody Williams out in front where he finished off last week at Dover. Second place now, Derek Welch. Again, this has got everybody in the top 9 back where they started the race from. No one's moved up, no one's moved down. Everyone's kind of in order here. So top 5 is Williams, Welch, Holland, Robert, and Hawley. Vince Short hangs there in the 6th position. Again, running a clean race. Ooh, a little loose. Cody Williams is through the carousel. Gathers the car back up. Doesn't lose the spot, or, well, the whole day for that matter. Keeps it down into turn number 10 through the trees. We can't see him. There he is. Already 4 laps in. Derek Welch has slipped back to the 4th position.
Yeah, I don't think Welch is a very big fan of that last turn.
Turn 11 can be tricky, even in a sports car that it's kind of made for. It takes a while to finally nail it and get it done. Pat, I mean, again, you can explain it just as well as anybody. We just spent 6 hours here turning laps on Mercedes. Again, it's a different car entirely, but you still have to approach it relatively the same way.
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, lap 1 to, I don't know, how many laps did we end up doing? It was 150 or 60?
Almost 200 laps, I think, was the total distance for prototypes. I think we were in the 160, 170 land for the GT car.
Yeah, it felt just about the same, that lap 170 as it did lap 1. It was just a handful.
Battle here for Seth Hawley's 5th position. Vincent Short is in behind him. It's now down the front straightaway. Everybody's starting to run their best lap times as they start to spread out here. Cody Williams of 74.54. Fastest car in the track, though, is the 37 of Richard Holland. He just ran a 14 or a 74.37. We're going to give it a second to then the decimals. Connection issue for Zach Hawley. In and out, we've seen it a couple of times. Let's ride on board here with Vincent Short here. We're going to get a look at a lap around Watkins Glen. Again, he's going through the carousel right now. We're going to let him get down into turn 10 and 11. As soon as he gets off turn 11, we're going to go on board with the 015. Kind of get a look at how Vincent Short gets around Watkins Glen International. Go to him just because he's got a lot of experience here, especially at Watkins Glen. Let's just see how he gets it done. Just past the caution light, gets on the brakes into turn 1, catches a little bit of that inside curve. back to the throttle. So important is turn number 1 because that really determines half of the pace of that lap. If you get slow onto turn number 1, you're going to be slow through the S's, you're going to be slow down the backstretch, not a whole lot of braking between there and the bus stop, so you really need a good exit point. Through the S's, it's pretty straightforward, little feathering on the throttle, now flat out down the back straightaway, and then hard braking just before the stripe into the bus stop, cut the curbs, right, left, right combination. Again, use as much curb as you can, especially in these stock cars, and then get it down to the bottom the best you can. Vince does slide up about half a groove. Not a problem either. That's just a preference. If he doesn't want to run wide, some guys do, some guys don't. Down the short chute, he's going to run into turn 10. Another high-speed straightaway with heavy braking just past the bridge. On the brakes, down to the bottom, let the car swing wide. Welch swings way wide. That's an off track. Another car to the left into the fence. Local yellow only. Vince gets through. He's going to pick up a spot. But that's a lap here at Watkins Glen as he works off turn number 11.
Looked like the 37 car Richard Holland back there in the wall.
Holland slipping still with some damage to that left front. Tough break for the 37. They do have the fast repair. He's going to need to get to the box quickly, get that affected, and then get back out without losing a lap. Again, we do have a stage caution coming already here at lap 10, but he's got to get down to his box here quickly before he goes a lap down.
Break for the 37. You know, I think the 16 and Joe Roberts looped it around in turn 1 as well.
Joe Robert has crashed. We got a replay of that as well. Ken Stocks has had an issue as well. That was lap 4. Hard to keep track of all of it. Ken Stocks has crashed again, it looks like.
But lap 4 is just not being kind to these guys.
Ken Stocks slow into turn 11. This might have been off turn 10. Take a look at the replay from the overhead pictures. This is big trouble through the bus stop the last time. Just a tough go so far for Ken Stocks. We'll look at the Joe Robert incident. Joe Robert, the 16 Pennzoil machine, just gets clipped. Derek Welch gets to the bottom and just has to jump the nose off over the curb, gets into the 16. Not intentional, but it does happen.
It's just a tough spot to get that car rotated.
Meanwhile, Cody Williams still out in command of this race. 6.5 seconds the advantage for the 38. Now you got to wonder, is Cody going to stay out during this stage? I know when I was running these cars on a regular in a league, I was able to stay out well past 10 laps and still manage to maintain the gap. Now, the difference is in this league, there's some more consistent times across at least the top 5, 6, 7 cars. What's your play on this, Zach? Are you going to take tires at lap 10, or are you going to wait until the second stage? They got 4 sets over the wall. It's almost a no-brainer, but what would you do?
You know, when it comes down to having that many sets of tires, I think I would just have to take them. And, you know, I think he'd be okay either way. The way he's running very consistent. He wasn't quite a second faster than second place, but he's certainly looking very patient and very smooth out there so far.
7.2 seconds out in front is the 38. Over the 48 is Zeth Hawley. Be curious to see if the connection issues have dissipated for Zeth. Saw that car blinking in and out multiple times early on. So far seems to have gone away. But through all that cycling with crashes and spins and pit stops, it's also moved Vincent Short up into P3. Again, Vince trying to have a good points day. He feels that he runs well here. It's not his bread and butter mile and a half that he likes, but he's certainly putting the effort in the work in the road courses, and he is in front of second place points runner Derek Welch. So far, so good for the 15.
Ooh, I think I see somebody sliding through the bus stop there.
Catch who it was. Oh, contact. The 16 involved again. 32 goes around. The 16 of Joe Robert has problems. Ricky Fagande, the second. He gets caught up. Exit of the bus stop. Looks like he's got all 4 wheels straight on that machine. Not really the case with Joe Robert. Joe's right front is damaged significantly, at least the tire down, if
Caution,
not broken control arm. Oh, but we do have a caution.
Talk to me, what do you got?
That is the stage caution. So that might be some help there. He should have just driven it back if he could have. Now he's going to have to tow. He's going to lose the lap. Caution was out. He had that advantage working for him.
Had that 30 seconds of kind of, you know, crawling back to the pits just turned into probably about a 2 or 3 minute tow, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Cody Williams is just working turn 4 on the backstretch under yellow. I think he probably could have nursed that number 16 back to the pits and gotten the repairs made quickly, gotten caught up to the tail end of the field, but not to be. Maybe just a quick decision that came at the last minute. Who knows? But interestingly enough, also through that, Vincent Short has taken over the second spot. Not really sure what happened there. Let's see if I can find anything on that in the replay here.
I think it was the 48 car of Zeth. I think he might have just slid through the bus stop, maybe had a lockup or something happened, and I think Vince was just in the right spot at the right time.
I think I found it here. Go back to the blimp. Zeth Hawley. Oh! Locks
wow.
up the rear, wheel hops it hard, hits the inside Armco barrier, entrance to the bus stop. Has to skip the bus stop, so that's going to be a time penalty. He's going to have to slow up. You see that contact alone was enough for Vince Short to get on by. But, yeah, good call, Zach. Caught it there on the other camera angle, and there you have it.
Boy, that was pretty hard contact, Steve. You think he's going to be trying to struggle with that thing, or you think he's going to use a quick repair?
I think he's going to have to use a quick fix here. They got 2 to work with. He seems pretty quick. It was just a simple mistake. I think he may have learned from it already.
And that's definitely one thing, Steve, that you and I were talking about all day during the 6-hour races. The longer you do a run on a set of tires, we start to crank that brake bias up towards the front a little bit to gain that stability.
And you really see that really prevalent, especially in these cars that are twice the weight, tires are half the width, okay, and they've got maybe a third of the downforce that the sports cars do, or the prototypes or anything of that sort. Purpose-built road racing cars. So brake bias adjustments make a huge difference with these cars. You can be quick by rolling it to the rear, which to those of you that are new to this whole racing thing don't understand that. Drivers have a dial in the car, sometimes 2 dials, that can change the amount of brake pressure in the front brakes versus the rear brakes. So your typical road car, you're probably 80% front brake, 20% rear brake, or 70-30, or depending, it's somewhere in that realm. But in a road car or a sports car, you could be as equal as 50% front, 50% rear, depending on the weight balance of that particular race car. Or in a stock car, these guys are typically 60, 62, sometimes 70% front brake. But the more you roll to the rear, the quicker it stops. Okay, the drawback to that is it's a little less stable. So you're more likely to lose the rear end in spin, like we saw the 48 do trying to get into the bus stop. But man, you can get those things wound up in a hurry if you're careful. Field rolls
It's like
down
some
the
good pit stops. Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of 4-tire stops here, Steve.
Yeah, if you're going to take the time to roll it down pit lane, you might as well get 4 fresh fuel goods and get back out there. But Nathan Stanley in the 67, he does stay on track. I don't know if that's just to lead a lap or what have you, but Vince Short comes to a stop in the box. Crew rolls
clean
around
stops.
the right side. Again, they pit these cars on the driver's right as opposed to the ovals where it's always driver's left. So it is slightly different with these guys. It is a different style pit stop, but 4 tires and fuel for looks like everyone involved. Derek Welch gets out as well. Derek Welch does not register a pit time. Not sure exactly what happened there. In fact, I'm just going to rewind it and see what I can see because none of these guys showed a pit. Everybody else showed a pit time except for Derek Welch.
Looks like he definitely got some tires.
Left side tires. Crew goes around to the right. Yeah, 4 tires and fuel for Derek Welch. Again, a time not registered for him. Not sure why, but he got him, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think we forgot to pay the guy down there at the stopwatch this week.
Yeah,
I think
right.
he's a little upset.
Sorry, he'll get all ready.
That's okay.
All right, we're going to step aside here, take a short break. We'll be back with the green here after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Watkins Glen International. We're just completing our first stage. Stage is lap 10, lap 25, and a whole race distance of 55 laps. I think Cody Williams was the winner of that first stage. Currently, Williams, Stanley, Vincent Short. Actually, Stanley stayed out during the pits, so he is the leader. Now then, Cody Williams, Vincent Short, Zeth Hawley, and Dalton Wagner will be your top 5. Get ready to go back to green. Pace car lights are off. Field works through turns 10 and 11.
I have a good feeling we're going to see Derek Welch come up through this field. I think he's going to put a move on.
Green, green, green.
Green flag waves. We're back underway from the Glen. Nate Stanley quickly loses the top spot. Williams goes P1. Oh, trouble. The 48's around. Seth Hawley gets turned in the bus stop. And contact again. The 28 of Ken Stocks gets into it. Let's go back and take a look exactly what happened with Seth Hawley the first time and then add insult to injury. What did it look like from your perspective there, Zach?
Well, I couldn't really see through the
Squirrel.
squirrels in the trees there.
Oh, hell. Let's try it again. Vincent Short way down to the bottom on the bus stop. This might be contact with the 48.
Oh, definitely.
'48's not going to be happy about that one.
No, I'm not sure if he knew he was there, or I don't know. Maybe he was just trying to beat him to the punch in there. I don't know.
And this one's not going to be any better. 48 just comes right back out into the racing line in front of the 28 and gets clipped again.
Oh, you know how it is, Steve. When you get turned, you just want to get back on that track and catch them as quick as possible, and it's just a shame it happened twice.
Yeah, I caught a prototype the same way today, I believe.
Yes, absolutely.
Cody Williams out front, extending that lead already, almost 5 seconds out in front over now Dalton Wagner, Vincent Short, Derek Welch, Richard Holland. It's interesting, a lot of these guys taking very similar lines to what we saw in the sports car, getting as much of that first right-hand curve into the bus stop as possible.
Yeah, that's one of the toughest spots on this track. And it was funny with the sports cars, because if you cut it like these cars do, just on the edge, it kind of would launch you and basically almost send the car into orbit. But if you cut it completely, it was way more stable.
Biggest thing I found, at least with the Mercedes, and I think it applies across the board, was getting over that curve. It wasn't so much how it launched, it was more about how it landed. It really upset the car. The suspension didn't rebound the right way, and it really had a tendency to send you to the right when you're trying to make a left turn.
Yeah, and it seemed like it landed differently every time. I mean, you couldn't really ever guess it.
Right on board here with Derek Welch as he tries to chase down Vincent Short.
Looks like Welch are just a tick faster than the two cars in front of him last lap.
Dalton Wagner with the Laughing Clown malt liquor sponsorship on that 04.
It's a great looking car. That might be a strategy-based paint scheme there, Steve. You know, the closer you get behind that car, you see that clown, it might creep you out and throw you off your line.
Yeah, I'm not a real big fan of clowns myself, but
Definitely not.
I think it would just make me want to pass them more.
Or hit him.
Oh, there's that too. Dalton Wagner starting to put a little bit of distance on the 0-15 of Vincent Short. Derek Welch also starting to close down that gap between himself and the 0-15.
Meanwhile, you got Ricky Not Craven back in 6th place. He ran the fastest lap last time at a 1:15.20.
Ricky Fagande the second. I hope I'm saying it right. I can almost guarantee I'm not, but 1:15.20 for the 32. That is his fastest lap of the race so far. Oh, Derek Welch is in trouble. Damage to the one machine. The right front broke on the Numb Thumbs Gaming machine. That is the second place runner in the point standings. He works up through the S's. He makes contact with Armco again. Still trying to get that car to turn.
Boy, that's a horrible spot, Steve, to have that happen. He's got to nurse that thing all the way around this track.
He's just got to try and keep it on the lead lap.
Honestly, if I were him, I'd probably cut this bus stop, just take the corner, the corner cut penalty.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing. Take the penalty because he's going slow enough that he's going to make it up before he gets back, and he's trying to keep it straight. He's in front of traffic. Right-handers are okay. Lefts are going to be difficult, and that's what's coming up here in a minute. It's turn number 10.
That wheel looks like it's just barely hanging on.
It's probably being held on by the tether at this point. Welch goes wide here. Now he's got turn 11. Trying to swing it back in. Trying to get to the pit lane.
Steve, if he can get in here and use that second fast repair, he might be able to stay on the lead lap. If you never know, we might get another caution down the line. He could be right back into it.
Yeah, I don't think he's used his first fast repair yet, but yeah, nonetheless. Looking at the track map, of course, Welch in the pit lane. 38 of Cody Williams just crossing the stripe right now. Welch gets it fixed as the 28 goes into turn number 1 there, hits the outside wall. And Welch does go down a lap as the 38 is by into the S's. Now, again, it's still not the end of the world. Welch looks to be the first car one lap down, so if we do get the caution, I believe the wave-arounds and lucky dogs are turned on. That they are. So Welch is, again, not out of this. He's got pace. Okay, he's the first car one lap down. There's only 10 cars on the lead lap right now, so if he gets the wave around, that would make it 11. He'd be in a good position to still work his way back through the field, have a decent finish. Not all is lost as of yet.
Definitely not. Plenty of time. Anything could happen. Meanwhile, up front, I think that 04 car is starting to come to life.
Dalton Wagner running in the second position. He's up 15 spots since the drop of the green flag. Last lap of 15:89 to Cody Williams, 15:04. Still 7.3 seconds in the rears, though. Lap 22 of 55. Again, they're going to run the lap 25 second stage, so he's got a pretty good position here, at least as far as points are concerned. Vincent Short, I'm sure, would love to get caught up to that 04 and take that second position away. He would love those stage points. Vincent Short, though, he's got a rear view mirror full of Richard Holland, the number 37. Showed pace early on, got caught up in an early incident, had some damage on that machine, burned the fast repair. Now he's back in the top 5, knocking on the back bumper of P3. Crossing the stripe, put lap 23 on the board for these guys. Hard on the brakes, back into turn number 1. Holland really trying to get back to Vincent Short. He is right there off of turn number 10. Vince stays down low. I don't know if it's to block the spot. Might be a crossover coming. No, Vincent Short, good job defending off turn 11, though. I don't know if this is going to end it for the stage or not. They may go a half lap before they get the yellow. Vince has to stay out in front of that 37. We also see the 16 to Joe Robert, though, a lap down. Hanging tough with these two. We'll explain why we didn't get a caution. It's lap 25 that we're talking about. We're on lap 24. Got a little ahead of myself.
Vince is doing a pretty good job of, keeping him in his mirror for now.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Doing a great job indeed, trying to keep him back there. Meanwhile, Cody Williams off turn 11 here. He's going to cross the stripe lap 25. That is the stage. Cody Williams wins stage 1 and stage number 2. One more to go. Second was Dalton Wagner, Vincent Short third, Richard Holland and Ricky Fagande the top 5. Further back, Dave Hoitzma, Zeth Hawley, Jason Kraft, Double Lot Joe Bennett, Chris Clark. That is the top 10. So I think it's kind of a no-brainer based on what we saw at the end of the first stage. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel for everybody out there. However, what was it, Nathan? Where is Nathan? Nathan Stanley. He stayed out during that first stage, and unfortunately for him, he is now 13th, 1 lap down after his issues. Don't know if it was related to tires or otherwise, but did not work out for him at all.
Yeah, it looks like he was a solid 3 or 4 seconds slower a lap compared to some of the leaders.
So let's take a look at it. They went about 12, 13 laps or so under the green flag. Cody Williams' last lap was a 15:68. His fastest of the day was a 14:16. Extrapolate what you want from there, but we're going to have a bit of a long session, a long stage to get to the checkered flag here. We could even see maybe some stops under the green flag. I don't know. We'll see. Cody Williams, though, not wasting any time. He's going to get down pit lane for certain. He's going to get his pit work done. Derek Welch stays out. Makes sense. Again, that's the caution. He's going to get the lap back. Stay with Cody Williams through his pit work and then try to go to Cody and get an interview with him shortly. Cody Williams down and away. Let's see if we can pull Cody into the booth. Cody, it's Steve in the HBR TV broadcast booth. Do you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Cody, so far it's stage 1, stage 2. You've won them both. What's the strategy here to get it to lap 55? It's going to be a longer stage out of the 3. Can the tires hold out for the full run?
I think so. As long as you try to take care of them, it's going to be a little bit different run here. Dalton and Vincent both have pace, and they're going to be starting right behind me. So it's just going to be managing your tires and trying to keep this thing on the road while obviously trying to keep pace at the same time. So it's going to be a very interesting last stage here.
How has the handling been on these cars? Experience any wheel hop getting into some of the heavier braking zones?
No wheel hop for me. It's just slick, slick, slick. It is a very slick racetrack. It's hot, slick, and it's making it a handful for sure.
Hot and slick, but so far, hot and slick at the front of the field. That's Cody Williams, the winner of stage 1 and 2. Looking for a checkered flag. Cody, thanks for chatting with us, man. Maybe we'll talk to you post-race.
Thanks, guys.
Was the driver of the number 38, stage 1 and 2 winner, Cody Williams, talking about just holding that car on the racing surface. It's hot and slick out there, as he was saying. Current dew point 39%, temperature 77 degrees, track temp 119 degrees. That is certainly greasy out here on those general tires on these ARCA cars. Certainly a handful, not able to really lay that power down. You got to be real ginger around this place. And again, going back, I know we keep talking about it, but we just got out of the race car a couple hours ago. The IMSA 6 hours of the Glen. Track temperature makes a huge difference, and we felt that a lot all afternoon.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how these guys do with the longer run on a set of tires.
That's just going to be it. I mean, we don't have full course cautions here at the Glen in this particular series. I know when we watch NASCAR on TV, we do get a full course caution for, you know, that back marker that might spin in turn 1 and park it for a minute until the yellow comes out and he drives it back around. And that makes that 55-lap race take 2 hours to get done. Whereas here with this local yellow only, they got a couple of cautions in the mix as far as the stages, but I think that's good to break things up. They also hand out some points during those things, so that's important too. But also it gets the field kind of checked back up and together. We've got drivers out here with varying skill levels. Cody Williams clearly skilled behind the wheel. Vincent Short, he's pretty quick out there. Dalton Wagner, all these guys have good pace. Not everybody out there does, at least not on the road course. So it does get everybody bunched back up, makes for a better show, better race. It's good all around. But I think Derek Welch in particular, again, one of the admins, the owner of this league, did things right in how he decided to set this race up specifically as far as the format goes. So we're going to get the green here at lap 28. I think it's going to give us about 28 laps to the finish. Again, math not my strong suit, but we're going to try. I think it's about 28 laps before we see the checkered flag. Race car is off. We're back underway here at the Glen. Lap 28 goes up on the board. Cody Williams in the throttle nice and early. Gets away. Good jump down the front stretch into the hard braking zone of turn number 1. Dalton Wagner drives it real deep there. Gets to within a car length of the 38. Off of corner exit. But Williams drives away into the S's.
This is going to be one of those disciplines, Steve, where you're going to want to push that car to maybe pass the guy as quick as you can ahead of you, but at the same time, you don't want to burn those tires up if you're going to have to race 10, 20 laps on a set.
And here we go. Dalton Wagner looking to the inside, down the back straightaway, into the braking zone of the bus stop. Can he make it pull off? Wagner takes the top spot under the right hand, left hand, right hand, bus stop into the right hand carousel. Dalton Wagner, new leader here, lap 28. Cody Williams slips back to the second spot. Now, Richard Holland, Vincent Short, Ricky Fagande the second. That's the top 5 as they work off the carousel down the short chute. We said Derek Welch did get back onto the lead lap, currently runs in the 9th position. Keeping track of the points as far as that end of it goes, Vincent Short comes in as the point leader. He's currently running in the 4th position, starting 6th on the day. Welch is down 7 spots. Great qualifying run for the one, but some bad luck striking that guy so far. 29 laps in here at Watkins Glen. It's not over yet. Derek can certainly put the power down and work his way back towards the front, but without the benefit of full course cautions, it's going to be a challenge. He's going to really have to pick his spots, work his way around this circuit, find the best places to get around all the positions in front of him, as he's already done one here. He's up to the 8th spot, getting around Ricky Fagande in the number 32.
See a little bit of a gap behind Vincent. I think might have been a spin or two behind him in the bus stop.
Trying to get a look at it. Possibly Richard Gray, Joe Robert maybe involved. Let's see if we can find it here. Joe Robert. This is getting into turn number 10. Way hot into turn 10. That's certainly the long way around. Didn't see anything in the bus stop, though. Not sure what happened there. Maybe not enough to trigger any kind of the indicators that we get here in the broadcast booth of wrecks and so on and so forth. Sometimes the transponders on the cars don't always trigger off tracks, but usually we can get that to come up. But as you see, Vincent Short running in the 4th position. Richard Holland now up in 3rd. Cody Williams, Dalton Wagner. That's the trip all the way back to P1. Top 4 spread out pretty decently, and again, as Zach mentioned, quite a ways out in front of everybody else. 5th, 6th, 7th, and so on. Top 4 have gotten away. I know we're not here for a car show, but I gotta tell you, the Numb Thumbs Gaming ARCA car Derek Welch is driving, that's a good looking paint scheme.
You know I like my car shows, but this isn't too bad either. Yeah, that is a really good looking car. I like the look of that. Definitely sticks out.
It's definitely a very Zach Millett-esque paint job.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Trying to get a shot from our blimp here, and it appears that it is barely off the ground.
Probably out of gas with all the, the cost of fuel nowadays.
Dalton Wagner still out in the front of the field. Cody Williams runs in the 2nd position. Again, going back to this conversation about experience levels and the like here on road courses, different disciplines. Most of these guys are accustomed to oval racing, but Dalton Wagner at the front of the field started 17th, almost last on the field. Again, Mark Collins 18th, but didn't take the green flag, so essentially Wagner started at the back of the field today, leads the race. His I rating, at least on the oval side, is a 675, okay? He's actually the lowest I rating in the field, and he's out here leading this race. Okay, this is what I say. I rating doesn't mean much a lot of the time, especially when it comes to your leagues. A lot of guys want to put caps on things, and I'll admit it, I put a cap on some of my stuff, and it does come into play at certain times, but if you got a guy that's at 675, who's out here leading this race and driving away, what does that say?
Yeah, what's that tell you, Steve? And if anything, maybe it makes him a bit of a sleeper.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, well, maybe one time he makes him a sleeper. He comes out here and puts on a clinic here at the Glen and starts driving away from Cody Williams, who is definitely very well versed in these cars specifically. Maybe not as much on a road course. Again, certainly got some talent out here, but Wagner's walking away from this so far. Big deficit back to Cody Williams. Richard Holland is starting to lose some ground as well. Top 4 all spread out quite a bit. Derek Welch, though, already up into the 6th position. He's starting to close down on this group.
He's definitely coming.
23 laps to go here from the Glen. Dalton Wagner still out in front. Watching Dalton go through that bus stop, he's definitely got the right line. We talked about using those curbs. Oh, a little loose off the carousel. Saves the car, had the right rear in the grass. Masterful job saving that race car from crashing it and being out of this race completely. But Cody Williams has now closed that gap down to just a few feet into turn number 11. Cody smells blood in the water. So we come to 22 laps to go. Can Williams do anything with Dalton Wagner? Dalton almost threw this one away.
Might be that tire strategy.
But is it? I mean, these guys both pitted lap 25. They both took tires. They're on the same strategy. Really, everybody is back to Zeph Hawley. Zeph pitted lap 11 last.
I think that maybe Cody's just driving it in and off the corners a little easier. He wasn't pushing it quite as much, and it might have saved him just enough to maybe start being able to pressure Dalton here.
Let's watch Dalton go through the bus stop again. Watch him hit this curb. Just a little boop. A little over-aggressive on the left curb, but the right entry curb, he gets over it just the right way. Tires don't ever come off the ground, which is very important. Wagner off turn 11 here with 21 laps to go. Cody Williams was able to gain back a lot of that spot, a lot of that track position between the two. When Wagner got a little squirrely off the carousel, he has since regrouped, though. He's got that advantage to just over a half second off turn number 1 into the S's. Yeah, you really see Wagner. He's running that same line as the sports cars, as far over to the right as you possibly can, within inches of that right side Armco barrier. It works out great if you can manage to not hit it. If you want to know how to hit it, I can show you some replays of me hitting it. I'm pretty good at that part of it. So far, Dalton Wagner's done pretty well, just lining that up perfect, like just floating that 04 across that curbing. But we saw again, we were talking about the end of stage 2, how Cody Williams was just driving away from these guys, Dalton Wagner included. He does seem to be a little bit faster on the older tire. That seems to be working for him here as we've got 20 laps to go. Williams closing down the gap, less than a half a second now. Last lap for Wagner was a 15:29. Williams ran a 15:13, so about a tenth and a half faster for Cody Williams in the second spot. Again, it's one thing to catch the guy out in front, but you got to find a way to pass him. And it's not just as simple as hammer down and, oh yeah, I'm just going to pull out to the left or the right and go around. You've got to set these passes up at places like Watkins Glen. You can't just hammer down and go. You got to think, all right, well, I want to try and make my pass in this corner, so because I know I'm better there, I need to set up my pass or my exit in the corners that are previous to it, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 corners previous to it, and kind of work my way to the perfect position, use some momentum down the straightaway, and then outbrake the guy into the corner. It is very difficult. It is a skill set that a lot of drivers just don't have. Yes, you got to kind of use that on ovals, but you don't have as many opportunities to A, do it, and B, there's also more opportunities for mistakes at a road course. Got 11 turns here. More than that if we run the boot section of the track. Again, they don't count the bus stop when they run the boot. It's still 11 turns, but it's really more like 15 turns if you do count it. But on an oval, you got 2, really. You've got 2 entries and 2 exits in most cases. Places like Indy that are kind of rectangular, you might have 4. But nonetheless, still nowhere near what you've got on a road course. So it's just very impressive to see the guys that can excel here on a road course, especially in this ARCA.
You know, it's something we always tell guys to try to practice to do, Steve, is, you know, don't just go out on a road course and run one line the whole time, even if it is fast. You know, you might want to try a different line, enter, you know, higher or lower, or just try some different things, because you're going to find yourself in that predicament where you might have to get around somebody. And if you're familiar on how a curb, you know, takes the suspension of your car, it might help you out.
You know, that just brings me to another topic with some more road racing experience that we had today. I know we kind of drawing on that quite a bit today, but it does apply even to these oval style race cars out on the road course. And Zach, you hit the nail on the head. You might want to try some different lines to make passes, and you also might want to try some different lines to give up a position, as to not lose valuable track position to the next guy that might be trying to pass you after the fact. You know, Zach was talking about changing up lines. You could take, on a road course, the entry to a particular corner. Maybe you want to try a real shallow entry and then exit real wide. Maybe you want to diamond the corner, kind of like you do on some ovals. Or maybe you want to come in low and come out high, or vice versa. That way you can continue to run the same pace, maybe back up your corner entry while keeping speed, but giving the faster guy a lane to use. It's very important to, A, not only know how to pass, but how to get past without losing too much track position. And that is actually so very important, especially when you get into these full-length races. Like we ran 90 laps here at the Glen. That is a very important skill to have.
Absolutely. Looks like Dalton's opening up the gap here on Cody a little bit.
Yeah, Wagner did pick up the pace a little bit. More so, Williams lost a little bit. I don't know if that was a mistake that Cody had made, but a 15.65 last time for Wagner and a 15.94 for Williams. But here he is again. Looks like Williams excels through the left and right turn section, turns 10 and 11. You see Wagner not maximizing the exit off turn 11. Really, neither did Williams, but gets a pretty decent drive down the front straightaway into the braking zone of turn number 1. Wagner gets down to that lower curbing, executes that very well, drifts the car back out wide to the curb, and back into the S's again. More rhythm section through the S's. Dalton starting to pull away through there. It's up to 6.5 tenths of a second. Almost see Cody trying to take that same line through the bus stop as Wagner.
Yeah, and Cody's a good enough driver. He knows to change up his line. If something's not working, or if he's losing ground for whatever reason, he's a good enough driver to know to maybe change it up and see if he can copy or maybe even learn something.
He's able to maintain the gap between himself and Wagner. If you look at the top times on the day, Wagner's got the best one, a 14.15, and Williams in a 14.16. So they're within 1/100th of a second of each other. And Williams loose off turn 11.
Like the lap traffic's going to keep down and out of the way. Good driving on his part.
Stop. Derek Welch down pit lane. I can only assume for the final time of the day. No damage on the machine that I can see.
Yeah, they might be just short on fuel on this run to make it to the end, Steve.
Fuel only for the one. Derek Welch down and away. Interesting that he's the first to see pit road, as he was one of the last to make that yellow flag stop. Remember, he got the lucky dog, so the leaders pit one lap before he did. A lot of times they talk about, if you want to win some of these races, you've got to be the first car out there to pit last, or the last car to pit first. I'm not sure. So far, Derek Welch, definitely the first car to pit last. And by last, I mean last on the day. A little slippery there through the exit of the bus stop. Got the 16 to Joe Robert in behind, but Welch still in the 9th position. It's the beauty of the tracks that are this size, 2.5 miles, 2.45 to be specific, around Watkins Glen International. But Welch was able to hit the pit lane, top off the tank under green flag conditions, working now down into turn number 10, where the leaders are just working off the carousel right now. So it'll be interesting to see anybody that needs to hit pit lane for fuel. If they all need to make one more stop, really could come down to how long does that stop take. It's opening up them for another opportunity to make a mistake. Pit road speeding violation, that sort of thing. That could totally take this win away from Wagner if he were to get one of those. Derek Welch now right behind the 16. Robert has gone around the 1.
There we go, Dalton and Richard in pit lane.
Richard Holland, Dalton, Wagner. Cody Williams stays on the track. Vincent Short does as well. Richard Holland into the box. Holland's going to take left side tires at a minimum. Dalton Wagner down and away, 14.93 seconds. That had to have been a 4-tire stop for the 04. Back out front, though, Cody Williams down the short chute into turn number 10. We'll keep a close eye on the 38, see if he hits pit lane for his final stop of the afternoon. And he is in the pits. He's down low through 11, definitely set up for pit entry. Gets on the brakes right before that line. Gets it woed up. Well, Vincent Short. Is he going to stay out another lap? He is. He's going to try and lead a lap here. Vincent Short to the point. Cody Williams into the box. So maybe this is where Derek Welch can try and pull a fast one. He got fuel only on his stop. First one to come down and do it. Seen most of these guys taking tires with their last fuel. Williams is down and away. 4 tires and Sunoco Racing fuel for the number 38. He is down and away. Vincent Short now still with the lead. He did not pit. 13 laps to go. Out in front is the 015 Track Bar Media Machine.
This is one of those calls, Steve, late in the race where, you know, depending on how much gas you need to finish this race, you might be able to get, you know, a free set of 2 tires put on there for the same amount of gas, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you could, but that's really the question. It's like, okay, do I take 2 lefts? Again, predominantly we've got right-hand turns here. But is it really going to throw off the handling? You know, we see that a lot of times, especially on the oval side of things, guys will try to get some track position, throw 2 tires on it instead of 4, and then it's so loose they can't even fly it until it comes in. We've only got 12 laps to go. It still stays out on the racetrack. I'm not sure if he's going to try and go to the very edge of the fuel or what here, but I guess that's the question too, Zach. I mean, what do you do? Do you take 2, or are you going to take 4? Are you just going to say, forget it, I don't need tires? I mean, what's the plan? I've always been a 4-tire guy, but I've seen some guys make 2 tires or no tires work.
One of those things, you know, if you're in the lead, you know, and if you have time, get those 4 tires, those 4 feel goods, get back out there, hit your marks, and catch whoever it is out there that either didn't take tires or maybe gambled and tried to take just 2 tires. But if I was Vincent Short in this situation, a win would be huge, but he was already running 4th. I mean, maybe come in, get enough gas, maybe 2 tires, get back out there. The chances of a caution are very slim. So if he could just stay ahead of these guys, he might be rolling the dice. But the longer he stays out here, he's going to be losing ground to these guys who did take tires.
If anyone's wondering why Zach has been so quiet, I've left him in a complete video blackout for the last 25 laps or whatever it's been. When I jumped over to interview Cody Williams, it disconnected his feed, but he's back up and running now, so we're all good.
Be honest, Steve, I was running out of gifts to send you.
I wasn't even seeing it. And these are gifts, GIF, not gifts. He's not buying me lingerie or nothing.
That's not like GIFs, like the peanut butter? Oh, okay.
Who calls it a GIF?
It's just me.
Vincent Short is still out in front, yet to make his final stop of the day. I'm just curious to see if these pit stops that the leaders were making, was it tire-based or fuel-based? Is Vince out of fuel? He looks awful slow on the carousel for a moment. He gets by us here in the camera tower. Definitely under power still. Let's see if he takes the trip down pit lane this time by. Still stays out of the racetrack.
Now the 32's on the same schedule, right?
I think so. 23 is damaged, though. He's trying to work down the front straightaway here with damage on that machine. Jason Kraft actually looks like he has parked it in turn number 1 and going to call it a day, possibly.
Probably a smart tow since it was right there in turn 1. Oh, we got an accident over Derek Welch is in it.
Stanley involved, Derek Welch involved. Oh, gets on the throttle too hard. He didn't look like he had too much damage, but he puts the power down with debris on the tire. This is inside turn 11. Trying to get that car righted and back in the running. This is going to be a tough break for Derek Welch. Again, Vincent Short currently with the lead, still needs to hit pit lane. I'm not sure if Derek's just taking tires or what the deal is here. It doesn't appear to have too much damage. I would have stayed out on track.
Boy, that shows you how hard these cars are to drive, Steve. You know, he just trying to get back on track and get moving again. Loops it around.
Let's take a look at it. Nate Stanley in trouble. This is getting into turn number 10. Inside with the 67. Just drifts it through the corner, and Welch just collects him. 67 of Nate Stanley did a decent job really staying out of the way. He only had the left front in the racing surface. But then Welch comes back over. Oh, I can't.
Boy, Welch has just had the worst luck this race.
Yeah, it's been a tough go for, I mean, he had a good qualifying run, but
I think he had a great strategy going there, too.
pounds the throttle down here, gets it crossed up, and a little tank slap. Insult to injury for Derek Welch. So here's the story. Out in front, Vincent Short, Ricky Fagande, that's the top two. Cody Williams is third place. He's working through turn number 9 right now. That's the carousel. Hard to tell with these narrow shots sometimes. But Short is now going to make his pit stop. He's going to hit pit lane here, coming to 8 laps to go. Cody Williams is going through turn 10 right now, so a lot of time lost on track for Vincent Short with the leaders on fresh rubber. Bit of an undercut, so they say, in Formula One, as Williams works turn 11 right now. He's going to go by Short, take that spot away. Fagande now in the top spot. He hasn't pit since lap 25, so he may have to see pit road one more time as well. But that is, I guess, the price you pay here if you stay out on the racetrack when the fast guys have stopped. Taking fresh tires, they can really put power down, lay down some lightning quick laps that are probably 3 seconds faster than you've been running. And
Like fuel only for the Vincent Short machine.
And it really shows the difference, the discrepancy in pace between the two of these guys. Again, Cody Williams lights out fast most of the time. Where is Cody Williams?
Cody Williams back in the 7th spot. What happened to Cody?
And I can't find him with the camera. He may have been disconnected.
Might be internet related. It says his last lap was a 16:32. don't see anything else.
Very interesting. Cody Williams going to get dropped out of this session here. This could work out for Derek Welch if he can get the car fixed and back out on the racetrack. I believe, is Derek on? Yes, he is. So that could be a position he could regain. That's valuable points for the one. Ricky Fagande, the second out in front. Dalton Wagner is second, albeit 16.9 seconds back. But again, 32 is going to have to stop for fuel here, I believe, at some point soon. 6.5 laps to go. This could be Dalton Wagner's race to win. And Ricky Fagande misses the bus stop.
Cool.
Still keeps the top spot as he had a huge lead over second spot Dalton Wagner.
Yeah, it looks like he didn't lose too much ground with that.
Now, iRacing, when you do that, I know in real NASCAR, if you miss the bus stop, you have to come to a complete stop in that area where it used to be the straightaway into the carousel corner before you can continue. Here in iRacing, they give you a set amount of time to give back a certain amount of time, usually 4, 5, 6 seconds that you have to give back that you may have gained by cutting the course. You see Ricky is in pit lane here.
I'm gonna have to imagine this is gonna be a fuel-only stop here, but I just don't know how much ground he's lost already, you know?
Well, he had a 16-second advantage. Dalton Wagner has already taken over the top spot. Nope, it's going to take tires. Four tires and fuel. Meanwhile, Dalton Wagner back out in front. Richard Holland has gotten himself back into the second position. Zeth Hawley is third. Vince Short is fourth.
Dalton's looking real comfortable out there. Looks like he's hitting his marks. He's really smooth.
Kind of been the story of the day with the 04 Dalton Wagner. Smooth as glass, not missing any of those braking points, apexes and exits alike. 5 laps to go for the 04. Richard Holland second. Hawley third. Vincent Short still hanging on in fourth. Fifth is Joel Robert. Tough break for the 38 of Cody Williams. He has slipped all the way to 13th position. I just have to imagine that's got to be internet related. I did not see anything on track or any indication with the transponder that he had a problem on the course.
Yeah, and it says he's manually disconnected from the server here, so hopefully it's not any sort of emergency, and hopefully everything's well with him. But I tell you, that 37 machine on Richard Holland, he is not going away. He is closing in on our leader.
He's running just under a tenth of a second lap faster, but he is almost a full second behind leader Dalton Wagner. He's going to really have to pour on the power here late with less than 4 laps to go if he's going to do anything to challenge for that top spot. Wagner's looking real smooth through the bus stop once again. Richard Holland, really nothing he can do with him yet, but he does gain some time, at least through the bus stop, but gives it back through the carousel. Wagner, 0.8 of a second advantage off turn 9, and a little loose is Holland off the carousel. Saves the car, but he's going to lose a ton of spots, or at least position. 1.3 seconds to now the advantage for Dalton Wagner.
Well, he's given that car everything it can handle, maybe even a little bit more.
Wagner crosses the stripe now, 3 laps to go, or he can cash in here in upstate New York. A little wheel hop out of the 04 entry to turn 1, cocked that car sideways just a bit, straightens it back out, continues to stay out in front. The deficit now back to second spot, a second and a half to Richard Holland. Looking back through the field, Derek Welch still fighting for this position. Every spot matters, every spot counts. Derek Welch runs in the 8th spot, gets in the grass in the S's. You don't want to do that. Welch possibly just pushing too hard, too late. All things being equal, if you can bring this thing home in the 8th position, almost call it a win. At this point, he's got 35 seconds out in front of him for the next spot, and 28 seconds behind him to double out Joe Buck in 9th. 2.5 laps to go. I would just set this thing on cruise control and try to take what I can get. Joe Robert keeping his foot into things here at the Glen. Had his issues a couple of times. Got the repairs made to that Pennzoil machine. Got back in the race. Looking currently at a top 6 finish. That number 16 machine. Ricky Fagande the second. Looking like a top 5 if he can continue to hold off the 16. Vincent Short 1.6 seconds just up ahead, hanging out of the 4th spot. Sure, he would really love to take home a top 3 finish here with less than 2 laps to go. Every point counts. We talked about that coming in. He had a 9-point advantage over Derek Welch in second, but off corner number 4 through the S's. Connection issues for Seth Hawley? Possibly? No, that's not Seth Hawley. That's the 23. Jason Kraft.
Vincent Short in that track bar media just slices it right in there. That's always scary when you have a blinking car in front of you. You just don't know where they're going to reappear.
It's late, man. You got to go. It's less than 2 laps to go. Vince has 8 seconds to make up on Zeph Hawley in just the final lap as Dalton Wagner crosses the start-finish, sees the white flag.
Oh, and there's a prime example of the blinky. Looks like the McDonald's car reappeared right in front of the Tide car, and it just sent him right into the fence.
Dalton Wagner cleanly into the bus stop for the final time. Curb to curb to curb into the carousel corner. Wagner looking through turn 11, gets that right hand done and out of the way. Checkered flag waving. Winner is Dalton Wagner. Second place is going to go to Richard Holland. Way back, 16 seconds back, is the 48 is Zeth Hawley. We'll wait for him to work his way off the corner. Flagman just waving that checkered flag for all he's worth.
Battle for 4th. Like Vincent got her going.
Little late race heroics there. Let's take a look at it with Vincent Short for the 4th position. Vincent tried to block, and Fagande just turns the 15 into 11. Short dumps the clutch and goes.
Hey, last lap, last turn, I guess, right?
Let's watch that one again. Into
Yeah.
turn 10. Fagande had the run off the corner. Vincent holds his line. Didn't change his line. Seemed to be a reasonable defense. Vincent gets it turned around and righted relatively quickly as compared to the 32, and he goes on to finish 4th position. Dalton Wagner off turn 10 into turn 11 on his cool down lap. Well, that was short-lived. Burn it down. Well, it is what it is. All right, we're going to step aside here, take a short break, try to get our top 3 into the broadcast booth for their post-race interviews. Stay with us, guys. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Watkins Glen, New York, the conclusion of the Numb Thumbs Racing ARCA League. Watkins Glen International. We got our top 3 ready and waiting to be interviewed. First and foremost, let's see if we can bring Dalton Wagner up into the broadcast booth. Dalton, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy.
Dalton, man, I don't know much about you. I don't think I've covered a whole lot of races with you in it, if any at all. But you've got one of the lowest I ratings out here as far as road courses are concerned. But you put on the biggest show tonight. Tell us about your road course experience and how you applied it here at the Glen tonight.
Yeah, my road course experience isn't much, to be honest. It's not in stock cars, so I'll tell you that much. I think this is my first full-length stock car road course race. But, you know, I just kind of practiced, and my main goal is just to keep it clean, keep it on the track, which I kind of did, better than some, I guess. But yeah, that was my main goal. Try and keep it on the track.
Well, it certainly looked good out there. Very smooth indeed. I mean, myself and Zach Millett, who joins us up here in the booth as well, we're both pretty stout road racers ourselves, and I certainly liked what I saw. You had the right lines, especially in the bus stop. Seemed you were gaining a ton of time through there. Did you do any research, any practice coming into tonight? Or, I mean, what was the mindset coming into Watkins Glen?
You know, about like a month or so back, I looked at the schedule. It's like, Watkins Glen. That's probably one race where not a lot of guys in the league are going to be road course racers. I'm just going to practice. I practiced for, you know, a week or so, and then I kind of gave it up. I was like, all right, I got it. And then starting yesterday and Thursday, I just kind of started practicing again and trying to figure out the lines. And I feel like through the S's, I was pretty fast, faster than most. And then in the bus stop, I would get on the brakes hard and try and carry a lot of speed as much as I could. But I just kind of practiced.
Well, it's one thing we do mention quite a bit here in the broadcast, especially with these competitive leagues like we see here in the NTRL. You got to put the time in before race night. If you don't go out and turn some laps and try to get a feel for what you're going to be facing, you're not always going to be that competitive. Yeah, you're going to strike it rich once in a while with a good run, but if you put down the laps, take the time and effort to put the practice in, usually you're going to have some success. And your prime example of that here tonight. So congratulations on the win, Dalton. We're going to let you get out of the booth here, but before we do so, is there anybody you need to thank before you get going?
Yeah, I'll thank Kenneth Stocks. I don't know what happened to him early on, but it's a good buddy. He put me onto this league, so I always got to give him a shout out. Other than that, you know, that's everyone.
All right, Dalton. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Again, nice run. Congratulations on the win.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
It's Dalton Wagner, driver of the 04, the winner of tonight's race here from Watkins Glen. Next, we're going to go to Richard Holland. Pull him up here into the booth. Richard, it's Steve and Zach Millett in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Richard, congratulations, man. A runner-up finish here at the Glen. You guys are running an ARCA series, and it's mostly ovals. I got to ask, do you have any road racing experience, even in the iRacing sim, if that's the only place? If so, how much? If not, great. How did you prepare for tonight here at the Glen?
No, I don't have any road experience, just on here on the sim, and very little at that. When I first started, I actually hated road course racing, so I've warmed up to it a little bit over the years. You know, just basically we came in knowing that we were going to struggle probably, and we just ran laps in practice trying to get used to it, and realized how loose it was. Really needed to just kind of settle in and keep the car underneath of you. If you drove it really hard, got it loose all the time, it would really smoke the right rear tire off of it, and then it was almost undrivable. So that was our game plan coming in, was just to keep the car under us, and thought we did a pretty good job. We had a problem early on there, which was my fault, got loose, had to pit, use a quick repair. I thought that ruined our day, but we battled back good, so pretty happy with the second place finish.
Well, Richard, I got to say this. The buzzword is practice, and so far our top two that we've talked to have mentioned it, and that really is key. The guys that take the time to do that, they've performed well, and so far it's 2 out of 2. Yourself in second spot, Dalton Wagner, of course, with the win. But I got to ask, I hear a lot of Maine accent in your voice, and you sound a whole lot like Andy Santerre, and I'm sure that's a name that sounds familiar to you. Is that right?
Oh, heck yeah, man. Andy's our boy up here for sure. Yeah, no doubt. That's pretty cool that you noticed that. And yeah, definitely.
I'm a Western New York guy myself. I work for a company called Castle Products that did a lot of sponsorship with Andy in his Bush North days back in the day. And every once in a blue moon, I get a chance to talk to Andy. So I heard it in your voice, and always cool to see a Mainer do well here, especially in an ARCA car.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. That is pretty cool. But yeah, we're happy with second. I thought we would have had a shot at Dalton there. I I actually felt like I was a little better than him on that long run, but I did get loose, pushed it a little hard there a couple times, got loose, lost too much ground, and I just couldn't make it back up. But good race overall, good recovery for us. I'm really happy with finishing second.
It was absolutely a great race to watch all across the board. Again, congratulations on P2, Richard. Before we let you go, though, is there anybody else you need to thank?
I just want to thank you guys for putting on this show, man. Appreciate it. Love to go back and watch these races. So, having the ability to do that is great. And you guys put on a hell of a show, one hell of a broadcast, man. It's awesome to watch. You guys do a great job.
Certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, and I just want to thank my teammates. Cody Williams, teammate of mine, he ran a great race tonight, ran into trouble, but which was unfortunate for him because he was fast. And Rick Fagon was another teammate of mine. I want to thank them guys. Great teammates to race with every week. It's a lot of fun, and thank everybody that puts on anything, that puts this, has anything to do with putting on this league. Derek and all the boys, us being able to race here, we wouldn't be able to do it without them, obviously. So appreciate it.
All right, that was Richard Holland, your second place finisher. Good luck going into next week. Next, we're going to go to Zeth Hawley, our third place finisher. Driver the number 48. Zeth, it's Steve and Zach in the broadcast booth. You got a good copy? Zeth Hawley going once.
I'm here.
Hey, there we go. Zeth, it's Steve and Zach in the booth. Congratulations on the top 3 finish. We've kind of asked everybody coming into this race. Most of you guys are really familiar with oval racing, especially maybe in an ARCA car, but 2 of our top 3 finishers have iRacing road course I ratings below 1,000. Yourself about 922. Doesn't seem to mean a whole lot because you brought it home top 3 here at the Glen. What sort of preparation did you do coming into tonight's event?
To be honest with you, I didn't do any of the practices that they put up. I'm very familiar with the track. We ran this in the next gen on Monday, about 4 weeks ago now. They just bring home second place at the podium on that. So I'm really familiar with the course. I ran this course with the actual GP3 cars and stuff like that. So it's really familiar to me. I know where I need to hit my break points and where I need to get on the gas.
Well, again, it was great to watch. I mean, Zach and I both just wrapped up our 6 hours of the Glen this afternoon, about an hour and a half before we went live here. Certainly look forward to this one. This was a great one to watch. Congratulations on the top 3 finish. Well done. Your mic is cutting out just a bit, so we're going to cut you a little bit short. But before we do, try and go ahead and thank whoever it is that helps you get this thing done.
Well, I'm going to thank you guys for broadcasting the night. I know SPRN usually does it, but I appreciate you guys picking up some of our races. I want to thank Alphonse Racing for putting on this series. I really enjoyed running into ARCA cars. Don't do it too often. And really, I want to big shout out to my other racing guys in the truck series that we're going to be running tomorrow with Chad and Logan McNeil. And again, thank you guys for broadcasting.
All right, Seth, again, thanks for the kind words. Yes, us and SBRN covering the races here for NTRL throughout the season. Thanks for talking to us, Seth. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Rest of our finishing order, it was indeed Vincent Short claiming the 4th position. Ricky Fagon, I think I was saying it wrong the whole time. Richard kind of corrected us inadvertently, and I think I finally got it right. He finished 5th. After his run-in with Vincent Short, Dave Hoitzma was 6th. Derek Welch in the 1 finished P7. Chris Clark was 8th. Double-Lot Joe Bennett finished in the 9th position. Joe Robert was 10th. 11th went to Jason Kraft. Nathan Stanley finished in the 12th position. Cody Williams was 13th. 14th, Richard Gray. Ken Stocks, the number 28, finished in the 15th position. Brian Tiffany was 16th. Didn't see a whole lot of Brian tonight, but nevertheless still made the show. Didn't take the green flag, I don't believe. We saw him out there in qualifying, maybe in practice. Gerald Berlin, 17th. Mark Collins credited with the 18th position. All 3 drivers 55 laps down, albeit maybe running into problems early on. Nevertheless, credited with those finishes. We do have someone here standing by. In fact, we're going to try and get Vince Short also up into the broadcast booth. I assume Vince wants to talk about that last lap, last turn incident with the driver of the 32. Vince, it's Steve and Zach in the HBR TV booth. You got a good copy?
I got you.
I see you're sitting here in the green room. I imagine you want to speak your piece or say what you got to say or just want to chit-chat. But either way, the mic is yours. The floor is yours. Have at it.
Goal for tonight was to stay smooth, very few errors, and just try to stay steady and try to build some points up, which I was able to accumulate points where I needed to. Once I seen Derek fall back, then it was just a matter of just staying where I was at. I knew I didn't have anything for Rich, Cody, or Dalton at that time, and Seth. Me and Seth raced each other sometimes. I know we had an incident early on. Me and him went back like that. It was racing incident going to the bus stop.
So that was your incident going through the bus stop, but talk us through the last two turns 10 and 11 with yourself in the 32. There was definitely some contact there. To me, it looked like a decent block, but what did it look like on your end?
Believe it or not, I wasn't really trying to block. I had not much tire left, so I didn't want to swing out too wide because I didn't know if I'd have enough fight coming down, so I just stayed down, and he ran up on me, and I seen it coming, and I was like, he's not going to do that. And of course, I did my nice little flight chirp at him, and he's like, that wasn't what I planned on doing, but it's all good, man. It's racing. I'm not holding grudges. Ricky's usually pretty fair racing with us, so.
Well, it was certainly exciting to watch coming to the checkered flag. We're watching the replay right now. I don't know if you can see it up on your end. Coming off turn 10, you did stay right down. And again, maybe it wasn't a block. I know on a road racing stance of things, we see it quite a bit. You might hold an unconventional line to help defend your current position. To me, it looked textbook to what you were doing. That's what you should do. But maybe Ricky didn't expect you to do such a thing. But either way, contact was made. Both you guys get spun around, and it's just dumb luck. You get the thing righted and straightened out down the front stretch, and you take home that fourth position. That was certainly cool to watch.
Yeah, it's a lot of these guys are pretty fair guys. They're real respectful. I've never had any problems with Ricky, so it was just one of those times at the moment of the incident I was a little heated, but I didn't say anything out of the ordinary other than, hey. But yeah, no, I don't hold anything against it. It's just we're racing for position. So my thing was it wasn't an intentional block or anything. I just didn't have much tire left, and I knew if I swung wide, I might not be able to get it back down. So I just kept it down there and slowed down.
Well, either way, post-race, we certainly appreciate the excitement. A good run there. Again, you extend your point lead a little bit over Derek. He still brought home a 7th place finish, so we kept it kind of close. It could have been a disastrous day for the one, but either way, you come out on top with a little bit more extra points going into next week.
Yeah, I'd have to say it was probably the most exciting Watkins Glen race I've had in a long time. I mean, that's what I was telling the guys in the green room. That's probably the most packed race for that length of time in that race I've ever seen.
Well, we certainly enjoyed it up here in the booth, Vince. Again, congratulations on that top 4 finish, a solid points day. Before we let you get out of the HBR booth, anybody you want to thank?
Obviously, my wife, Nikki, she's working night shift tonight, so I'm hoping she got a chance to watch it. I know she enjoys your broadcast quite a bit. My brother, Kyle, my nephew, Landon, my sister, Jessie, my mom, Janet, my son, Dylan, my stepson, Jacob, and then my sponsors, obviously, HBR TV, HBR Racing, Track Bar Media, and Two Blessings Thrift Store. Thanks to all the guys, and thanks for everybody for watching.
Now that's how you do your sponsors. Nice job, Vince. Again, thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you, guys.
Vince Short, 4th place finish. Was standing by with an interview request, so we obliged, brought him up here, especially after that last lap excitement with himself in the 32. Wanted to make sure he cleared the air. I guess it was okay between the two. They already talked it out, and everybody's happy-go-lucky, and we go on to another race. But I got to think, race drivers have pretty good memories. Probably not going to forget that one, regardless of the intent involved. What do you think about that, Zach?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think they might remember for next week, if it comes down to the same situation. But I think it has a lot to do with how these cars line up. You can't really bump each other in these cars straight on. It just kind of scoops up the rear end.
Yeah, these cars are very, very not akin to being able to bump, especially on places like a road course. But we see it attempted at other places like Daytona, Talladega. You can kind of get away with it if you're real careful. But the long nose on these cars, they act kind of like a ramp, and the rear end's just above the bumper. You can probably stick the nose of your car about a foot underneath the car in front of you before you make contact. So once you do that, you've lifted the weight off those rear tires, and it's very easy to spin that lead car out. Makes for some exciting races, especially in some of the short tracks, but the last couple of turns here at the Glen kind of act like a short track, so that's kind of cool to see. Well, lastly, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the broadcast here, the NTRL ARCA series. Again, someone made mention of SBRN. It's just like Fox Sports 1 or NBC Sports. We kind of share the broadcast duties here with this ARCA series. It's kind of cool that we do it that way. We do have a good chunk of these coming forward. This next Saturday, I don't know if Derek has SBRN lined up. I know they don't have us lined up because, well, I'll be in Watkins Glen, literally. Taking some time off here from broadcasting to enjoy myself and actually go to a real race once in a while. So you'll miss us next week, but we'll be back the following week. And be sure to tune in. If you haven't already liked, followed, subscribed, shared, turned on the notifications, you know all the buzzwords. YouTube and Facebook, either one, find us at HBR TV and the number 1. That's HBR TV 1. You can find us at either of those platforms. We dual stream every time we go live to both of them in case you prefer Facebook or if you prefer YouTube, if maybe you don't have a Facebook account, because I've been informed that some people don't. I thought everybody had one. I thought it was like part of your birth certificate, but nevertheless, we got options for you guys. So if you want to watch, tune in every week. You won't miss a thing. You'll get the notifications that we go live every time we do that. And we don't just cover the NTRL ARCA series. We also cover the Superior Class Auto Racing Premier Series on Tuesdays. Tune in 8:45 in the East for that. And also currently we are covering on Thursday nights the Lone Star Racing LSR Cup Series also at 8:45. That will not air this Thursday again, as I'll be in Watkins Glen. That is their penultimate race of the season, but we will be live a week from this coming Thursday, again, 8:45 in the East, for the season finale at Daytona. So tune in for that. Those guys are running the Gen 6 Cup car over there at LSR, and the Premier Series on Tuesdays, they're running the trucks. So a good time, a variation, good variety of different cars and tracks and so on and so forth. Trying to fill up the schedule for the balance of the season as far as the Monday and Wednesday parts of the calendar. So if you've got anybody interested in broadcasting, send them our way. We'll see if we can get them squared away for another HBR TV broadcast. Once again, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. For Zach Millett, I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV. Congratulations to Dalton Wagner winning here in the NTRL ARCA Series at Watkins Glen. Have a good night, everybody.